So in today's video, I want to talk a bit about inheritance. Our main character, Wysteria, she is the daughter of Rose Willow and the great Willow Witch, who we just refer to as Grandma Willow within the story. With Grandma Willow, Rose Willow, and all of the Willow Witches that came before Wysteria, there is a certain standard that is set by these witches, and I'm not just talking about all of them having some shade of red hair. Some rumors speculate if it's natural. I promise you it is. But when you are born as a female Willow Witch and you become another part of the legacy of the Willow Witches, you tend to inherit something tangible and intangible. It's very adjacent to real life, where you could inherit your dad's nose. I'm thinking of myself. But you could also inherit the worry and anxiety that persist within the mentality of your family. Maybe that was a little too personal. Let's go back to the story. Oh, before I dive too deep into the story, hello, if you're new and don't know what I'm talking about, my name is Tiara. This is my YouTube channel, Project Sage, all about my online graphic novel, The Lost Land Sage. I am currently talking about the main character of this story, Wysteria Willow, which you can read more of her story at projectsage.thecomicseries.com, but I implore you not to leave yet because I'm really going to get into some deep ideals surrounding the character of Wysteria, the character of Rose, and some societal statuses within the world. So I guess that could count as world building. If any of that interests you, I'd love it if you stick around. So more about inheritance and the tangible and intangible. So for Wysteria, I think the tangible things that she inherits is, again, the red hair, and also the natural ability to do magic. All Willow Witches throughout history have just been inclined magically, and in whatever aspect of magic they decide to focus on, they always excel. Now, as you can imagine, that comes with an intangible inheritance, and that would be just the pressure of coming from such a great and wonderful line. I can't imagine what it was like for Wysteria when she was very young, and wondering if she'll even inherit the prowess for magical abilities as all of the witches before her, and all that pressure to be able to perform. And in the end, she was able to, but there is still that persisting pressure to be everything and more that all of the Willow Witches of the past have been. And I think Wysteria at the start of the story is taking it very difficultly, or at least very differently than her mother Rose did. And it's hard for Wysteria because the person that she could rely on in this time of adjusting to what these pressures entail for her of being a Willow Witch, Grandma Willow, she has passed away at the start of the story. She is no longer a mainstay within the main storyline, and so Wysteria is longing for that love, that confidence that came with Grandma Willow's support, and that encouragement for her curiosity, her exploration, because as it is now, she is encouraged to conform and to adhere to the standards, and something against her is pushing against that, because when Grandma Willow was alive, that's not what she was encouraged to do. And so I think Wysteria in her own way is trying to honor what Grandma Willow has instilled in her, but it becomes difficult when you introduce Grandma Willow's daughter, Wysteria's mother, Roseanne. I just call her Rose for short, but Roseanne Willow. So that's why Rose's and Wysteria's relationship is so strained, I think. It's like their relationship is missing a few connections, because the Willow Witch that raised Rose is not the same Grandma Willow that encourages Wysteria. And I think we can all relate to that. Parental figures who may have raised you differently than a sibling or a loved one, it's something that happens often. And so for Rose, what was instilled in her was duty and following through on keeping up images, basically. Because Grandma Willow was deep into her station within the Greenery Coven when Rose was conceived. And she gave that all up to raise Rose, but because it was so close to when Rose was born, it was still very much in the front of Grandma Willow's life. However, with Rose grown and on her own and having her own daughter, it was an opportunity for Grandma Willow to evolve in herself. And that is how she not raised, but interacted with, encouraged, supported grandma relationship with Wysteria. And Rose isn't an idiot, okay? She sees that things between her relationship with Wysteria, her mom, Wysteria's relationship with her mom, etc., she can see that things are not how she anticipated them being based on how she was raised. But it just makes all of her efforts to connect with Wysteria now feel clumsy or forced, which just leaves Wysteria feeling more seen by someone who at this point in the story isn't even alive, more than her own mother, which is really sad. It's a really sad part of this beginning of the story. And sometimes it makes me emotional to write about because it's not just Wysteria who's struggling. It is also Rose. And I want to reiterate, Rose is not a villain in this story, not even this beginning part of the story. She is quite simply a mother trying to put in effort. She is a grieving daughter, let's not forget. She is trying her best based on the tools that she was given. And so I never want people to villainize Rose or think poorly of her because of any role she might play in the beginning of the story right now. I think she is just someone who was told to maintain status. She was expected to live up to expectations. And because of how she was raised so close to such a militaristic past, I think Rose is extremely emotionally blocked. I won't say stunted, but definitely emotionally blocked, which is why she does have such a close relationship with her husband. However, it's harder with her daughter. And so Rose is trying to show this love to Wysteria through her own fear of rejection and her own effort to survive. Rose's MO is just to do the right thing. And she thinks she is doing the right thing. And she wants to encourage her daughter to do the right thing because it's the right thing. And the right thing in and of itself is more than enough. Wysteria doesn't really feel that same energy, I guess you could say. She is more trying to endeavor to understand. Why is this the right thing? Are we sure it's the right thing? What if this other thing is the right thing? And she wants to feel like she has a choice. And in the end, Wysteria might very well decide, yes, Mom, you're correct. This is the right thing. I will do it. But she doesn't want that exploration and that freedom of choice taken away from her. And that's kind of what she feels like at the start of the story. At the same time, she wants to maintain that respect and that love she has for her mom, because of course she does. It's her mom. And the culture in which they live is very much heavy on respect and hierarchies, especially politically. Still, as we focus on Wysteria, because she is the main character of this story, I do want to just circle back to that whole magical inheritance and including what we know now about her relationship with Rose and with Grandma Willow, and how it relates to Wysteria sort of going, quote, off script, end quote, to explore her choices. And a bit selfishly, she also wants to try and find that comfort that she lost in losing Grandma Willow. That encouragement, that quiet confidence, that ability to move forward, sure that she will reach a conclusion that is worthy in the end. All of this really reminds me of a book that I borrowed from the library and did not finish reading but really enjoyed, about linguistics, something that I am, in my free time, very interested in and passionate about, and something that author talked about, Jackendoff. I don't remember his first name, but Mr. Jackendoff. Something he spoke about was what aspects of ourselves are things that we are forced to live with, and what things can we change. And I think that's something that Wysteria is exploring. Like, what things as a Willow Witch are things that she has to just come to terms with, and what things can she change. I think very deeply Rose respects that about her daughter. I think she wants to encourage this exploration with her, but I also think Rose wants it within the confines of what is standard, what is seen as okay within the world that exists now, not pushing to exist in a world that isn't quite there yet, if it ever will be, as far as Rose knows. So it kind of turns into Rose and Wysteria in the same room, trying to connect, trying to relate to each other, to talk to each other, but they're just speaking very, very, very different languages, and it results in not understanding, not being able to connect, not being able to relate, and that is the root of their strained relationship. So within the Lost Land Sage, what I want to do is explore these 3 generations of the Willow Witches, Grandma Willow, Rose, and Wysteria. And I just want to see how prodding at and revealing these cycles of hurt or pain or patterns, what have you, how these things can affect the different generations, how each generation chooses to either break the cycle or heal from the pain and hurt, if they choose to do that at all, or if in their effort to do that they end up accidentally creating new cycles of pain or hurt or unhealthy patterns. So yeah, I hope that would be interesting to read between the lines about. I'm not really the kind of storyteller to overtly say, "No, Mom, you're hurting me. I don't want to do it this way," because people in real life don't actually communicate these connections and cycles and patterns in this way. But I don't want to toot my own horn about that. I will just let you read it at projectsage.thecomicseries.com. The more I dive into creating this world and this story, the more I realize that a lot of the story revolves around relationships. So as I talked about now, Wysteria's relationship with her mother and her grandmother, Wysteria's relationships with reoccurring characters like Pip and Autumn, her relationship with the main antagonists, with the world around her, with the Ever, with herself. So if any of that interests you, I highly encourage you to, again, go and check out my online graphic novel, The Lost Land Sage, at projectsage.thecomicseries.com. If you're still here at this point in the video, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and commented your thoughts on relationship dynamics, especially ones like the ones between a mother and a daughter. And also, if you subscribed and turn on your notifications, all of those things will really help this video within YouTube's algorithm, really help push my graphic novel and my characters and stories that I love so much to others who might end up loving them as well. I also have a Ko-Fi, which I will leave linked in the description, where you can go and you can either just follow me and get regular free updates. You can do a one-time donation and get access to lower tier level rewards, or you could subscribe to any of the tier rewards between $1 and $20 to reap those rewards, including, but not all of, digital monthly downloads, early page releases, Discord access, and voting for these YouTube videos. I also really quick want to plug my Instagram. My Instagram and YouTube account are very neck and neck, both around 90 so subscribers / followers, so I really want to get to 100 at some point soon, so if you could contribute to that, that would be cool. But enough of that. I have talked about myself enough. Nobody wants to hear that anymore at this point, since everything important has been touched. So, I just want to end off by saying, I'm hoping that any of you readers of The Lost Land Sage can go back and read the pages that exist and start picking up on those underlying feelings or cycles that are existing within Rose's and Wisteria's dynamic. Other than that, I hope you have a very beautiful rest of your day. If it is past midnight, I implore you to go to sleep right now. All right, bye.